And we're back. Welcome to another episode of Powerful Conversations. I'm in here with the big homie. You understand me? What's going on, Mr. Keith Moat?
What's up, man? Same old, bro. You know how it is.
Yeah, just cooking, and working and working and cooking, right?
That's it.
Yeah, man.
Staying focused.
It's it's uh it's becoming clearer and clearer every day. Even when it gets a little rough, the vision and the purpose is clear. And that's what I want to talk about today. Like, what is the mission? Because a lot of people we just be out here doing things, and I always make sure keep in front of me what's my goal, what's the mission,
Yeah.
And we have personal missions and goals, and then we have aspirations for the community and other people and all that. So they're two different things. They're not all together as one thing.
Right.
And so that's why I want to, and I started off like for me personally. This is me
Mm-hmm.
personally. My vision is to leave a legacy. How do I leave a legacy? To me, I have to become as wealthy as possible to be able to do everything that I want to do. See, a lot of people, when they hear, a lot of people hear you talk about money all the time and they think you're just money hungry, this and that. And
Mm-hmm.
anybody that know me know that I'm the farthest thing from that because I mean, I could make it off of just a regular paying job personally for the way I live my
Right,
life
right.
up under my means. I don't do the shopping, if people that know me know, but my favorite saying is I can live as a fast food worker, but I
Mm-hmm.
think and I want to aspirations as a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
those aspirations to be a billionaire is not because me personally. Of course, I'll be able to enjoy a lot of fruits of my labor and live life on my terms and all that. That comes with it. But it's really the things that I can do. As the more wealth you can amass, the more things you can do. And that's my personal vision of what I want, of why I want to you know obtain a lot of wealth, because
Yeah.
like me, man, I tried to do the school thing and I'm not good at, even with my nonprofit. I told you I got to get a team to do that. I'm not a nonprofit guy. I
Yeah.
don't know how to sit down and ask for money and
Yeah.
then
I've never been like
it's a
that.
lot of politics in that because you have to do certain things and be a certain way and act a certain way and don't post a certain thing
Yeah.
and that goes against my wealth is gangster brand. Like we kind of it's a little rough around the edges, but it's a positive rough around the edges, but it's not going to be the cookie cutter nice and be cool with
Mm-hmm.
everybody at the table type of situation. That's not what wealth is gangsters about. It's about us changing the narrative in our community, but we might have to do it on a little G side. It might not be all the little
Right.
wholesome and nice and you know what I'm saying. So
Mm-hmm.
so I realized that no, I can't do that. I have to go out there and obtain wealth for myself and put myself in a financial position where I can do everything I want to do, no matter if people support me, not support me, and all that. So personally, my vision, my goal, my mission right now is to obtain a lot of wealth. Then I got the CEO Youth League. I got different things that we're doing. That's for the community. I want to change the narrative in the community. I want to show the little boys and girls that grew up the way I grew up that
Mm-hmm.
and we can think positive. We can do this and we can get money these kind of ways. And so that's aspirations for the community and people themselves. And for us to just be in more of a powerful position as a people, you know. So mine go on different levels depending on what we're talking about, but I just wanted to do a little quick brief of mine.
Yeah.
So when somebody like when we sit down and you sitting down talking to thinking to yourself, and you're like, so what would you say if somebody asked you, Kimo, what is your overall mission, personal and community or business?
I
How would
mean, for
how would
me,
you explain that to them?
my personal mission, in life is to just live life on my terms and to live it, to the best of my ability, not trying to overdo something, because you only have one life and you got to try to figure out in this life how to be as happy as you can be, without anybody disturbing that peace. So that would be my personal, you know, mission. It's and actually I'm currently on that mission right
Yeah.
now because I told myself I wouldn't let anybody disturb, my peace or my success.
Yeah.
And that's just one of my missions is just to stay focused in that kind of way. But business wise, my mission is to kind of like change the landscape of business from an industry perspective. Like a lot of people just don't think on that level, you know, and the only way I can influence that is continue to, you know, pursue my mission so that I can show people that look, we can do these things. We can build industry. We build, you know, I talk about this all the time, and we build businesses, but we don't necessarily build the industries. And I know that's a big task. And I know a lot of people are like, you ain't gonna never be able to complete that mission, you know. But it's not about completing the mission, it's about changing the landscape of the way people think about that mission. You know what I'm saying? Industry was created long before we were even born, you know. So people have gotten into the where do you think you get the industrial revolution from? Where do you think you get the industrial side of things with all these factories and corporations and stuff like that? They existed all over the world in every country. But our minds don't tell us that. What our minds tell us is, let me start a business and then capitalize off of that. But this is why we have the ups and downs. And, you know, to stay on the topic of my mission is to actually start at the bottom and start building industry with one person, you know, just and expand to the next, and expand to the next, and expand to the next. You know, instead of us, you know, owning a tabletop company where we get our tabletops from, you know, Hong Kong, why don't we figure out how to make the tabletops ourselves? That's breaking into industry. And then manufacturing those tabletops right in our backyard or right in our garage or in our living room or wherever it is. And then develop that into an industry where people in the community can feed off of it. People, you know, everywhere can feed off of it. We currently build where others can't feed off of it. So when I explain that, you know, and I know a lot of people who are listening are probably going, whatever, but it's true that that is what we're doing. If I build, let's say, a clothing brand, nobody can feed off of that. You kind of understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like independently me.
Yeah.
All right. And so the little kids in the community will see me and they'll say, ooh, I want to do that. But when I eliminate them being able to feed off of it, that's a problem. And so what I mean by that is they have to come in and they have to be in a way where they're like, you know what? I see what he's doing and he's building this and he's doing it from scratch. It's just like the concept of starting your own garden. You know what I'm saying? I just use that as an example.
Yeah.
You know, start your own garden. You're going to go find a patch of dirt, you know, and then you're going to dig up the dirt. You're going to test the soil. You're going to put the seeds in. You're going to water it. You'll do all these things to grow whatever you're going to grow. Well, that's the start of industry building. That's not the start of a garden or a business. That's industry building. So what industry does that tap into? Aha, agricultural, horticultural. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
That's the mission.
Man, it's like it was just meant for us to meet because it's crazy. Like I remember taking my partner Mike, that's in the real estate, out to it's a whole block in Temple that's like an old industrial building, but it takes up the whole block. And and this is like 6-7 years ago, and I was telling him, I'm like, man, instead of going to China, we can have our own factory and we can make everything here.
Exactly.
And I was like, and I showed him the ramp. I'm like, the trucks can back up there, and we can have people in there making stuff. And I had a guy that was making, because I have a thrift store, so I had a guy that was making me like end tables and stuff, right, out of wood. But of course, our problem is it's so expensive to really turn that profit, So it's crazy that I meet you, because I've been thinking this way. You just helped me put it in perspective of how I was thinking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when I have a podcast I did some years back, and it's called Building a Nation. And I always say these phrases, my terms is that we got to feed ourselves, house ourselves, clothe ourselves, educate ourselves, employ ourselves, and then protect it. So it's crazy that. And that's why, since I've been with you, I have been able to kind of like home it all together, because I was thinking like that, but I didn't even know that I was thinking like that, if it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I knew that we have to do more than just own the clothing. We back to what we talked about last week. We need to own the cotton field and then the trucks that goes to pick up the cotton, and then the building that puts it together. So I've been thinking like this, but I didn't even think of it as industry. I just thought about, this is the way we really only gonna be able to, because I always think in power. So to me, I wasn't thinking industry, I was thinking power, but industry is power. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you once you create your own industry and you running that whole line, that's the power play. And that's why we so powerless, because we don't think industry.
That's correct. You summed it up the right way. A perfect example, right? I was telling somebody this the other day. These are toothpicks, right? Plastic toothpicks. And this is the best way I can explain it. Everybody looks at these and they'll say, oh, these are toothpicks made by the doctors. Okay, that's the brand. Now, and disclaimer, I am not advertising for them, and I'm using this as example. So I'm not endorsing them. I'm not doing any of that. All right.
Gotcha.
So the viewers know that no, I use this product, but here's the thing. Nobody's looking at it the right. The way they look at it is like this particular company makes these and sells them all over the world, right? But what industry does this fall into? That's where we get lost. This falls into the hygienic industry. You see what I'm saying?
Toothpaste and toothbrushes.
Toothpaste, oral health, that industry. So within an industry is so many different categories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And until we understand, like, we're not making the investment in the right way, because I was a former stockbroker. I know money. I don't care what nobody say. You can tell me whatever you want to say about what you think you know. But I learned it from a different perspective. I learned it from old school stockbroking, being on the floor, listening to those people with the suspenders and them white dudes with all the money.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, until we understand, okay, and when I say we, I'm talking about anybody who puts themselves into the business perspective, or anybody who thinks they're an entrepreneur, whatever the case may be, until we understand that the biggest investments we can make is in creating industry, we will always own mom and pops. Nobody wants to take the chance and the risk to say, you know what, I'm going to make staples for large construction sites. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take a 12-inch piece of steel by 2 millimeters, and I'm going to make a machine, or I'm going to get a machine that bends them and makes them so they can fit this gun that I'm going to make. Okay. So that when you go to the construction site, instead of a nail gun, you can staple the drywall in. That's just an example.
Yeah.
And from that brings great industry. It's not that you made a product and that you sell a product. What you're doing is you're merging yourself into the construction industry.
No, No, that,
I don't know no other way to put it.
no, but see, that's the. I mean, the way you put it is perfect. It's just so foreign to us that no, it's no proper way to put it to the to our people by the masses other than just continuing to say it,
Yeah.
continuing to put it
Yeah.
in their head and not just say it, do it. And that's what I'm trying to be an example of. Like I had a
Mhm.
meeting today about the seasoning that we're gonna be, preparing. That's gonna be coming out. That's me not just starting, like you said, forget just the barbecue sauce I got. Now I'm
Right.
thinking seasoning. Now I'm thinking ranch. Now I'm thinking rubs. Now I'm thinking the whole industry in the condiment
In the
lane. You know what
condiment
I'm saying?
industry, right.
You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. And I've been thinking like this, but I wasn't putting it into perspective. I say being with you has helped me realize that, okay, yeah,
Mhm.
this is industry. I need to build. So it gives me more confidence and more focus on what I'm
Right.
doing instead of just trying to come out. I want a seasoning. I want a barbecue sauce.
Right.
Because that's how I
You
was
walk
thinking.
into the grocery store and walk down the aisle where all the seasonings are.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say it all the time. Do you think all of those people who own those brands are worried about what everybody else is doing? Oh, you got Laurie's Paprika, you got Horton's Paprika, you got Julio's Paprika, you got Jimenez Paprika, you got Mojo's Paprika. At the end of the day, it's all paprika, but they merged into an industry in which they can find the way that they build
Mhm.
their spices. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because there's somebody out there using paprika in massive quantities.
I use it every day.
Exactly. See,
I
there you
I, I,
go.
I buy some. I buy a big thing of it like every other week because I
Exactly.
use it in multiple different things.
Right. If
Yeah,
I wanted to get into the condiment industry, like I'm a big user of cayenne pepper. And I put it in my juices, it just,
yeah,
I'm just built that way, right?
yeah.
But if I wanted to emerge into that industry, the smart thing to do is not try to create a cayenne pepper that is banana flavored.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing you could do. You don't change, okay, the plays, and you don't change the playbook. You make a cayenne pepper that's a cayenne pepper, and your job is figuring out how you're going to produce it to the masses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're going to be targeting who you want your cayenne pepper to go to. And like I speak this all the time, like, you know, you spend a lot of time with me, so you know where I'm coming from.
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm just one of those type of people who like, why work harder when you can work smarter? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we waking up every day trying to script and scramble and get the dollar and convince people to buy this and convince people to buy that? I don't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because once you immerse yourself into the industry, and so everybody knows out there, what I'm telling you is nothing that's new. Okay? It's nothing that's new. This ain't no secret gem. This ain't no, oh, he putting game down. Nope. This has been happening since before I was born.
Yeah.
Okay. And you and Tony and everybody else. How do you think these big buildings and corporations get out there? They don't get out there because they say, oh, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to make a product. Okay, good luck. Ain't nobody going to get in your way.
Yeah.
But when you decide that you're going to dominate an industry and you say, look, I know what this industry brings. Let me attack it a little different.
Mhm.
Okay. You enter into that industry and then you think different in it. You don't build what everybody else is building.
Yeah.
You don't care. What you care about is how you're going to emerge whatever it is you're building into that industry. And that's the mission.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
That's the mission. The mission isn't to be like, man, I'm worried about Tony because Tony over there making some cayenne pepper. Man, he gonna step on my toes. I don't give a damn what Tony doing over there with the cayenne pepper. He got nothing to do with me. Okay. We both in the industry. What we should be doing is looking at each other and saying, you know what? I'm doing cayenne pepper. You're doing cayenne pepper. You know, what are some things that we need to be looking at to emerge this into the industry? Maybe we might just say, let's work together.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 14 machines over here, and I got 2 machines, but my machines do this, your machines do that. Why don't we come together and now merge this cayenne pepper into the industry?
No,
Nobody thinks like that.
and I had a conversation like that about some barbecue sauce because this guy, he was like, his grandpa, he got a family recipe, but I got my barbecue sauce. And our conversation was, well, when we partner up and do something together, either have both of them on the same product line, or you know what I'm saying, something like that. Is no competition because our problem gonna be the big boys that's on the shelf. So me and him can compete all day, but that shelf space don't care about now one of us compete. You know what I'm saying? But if we came together and we had, even if we kept our separate barbecue sauces and had different flavored or whatever, but they're under the same brand. Now we got one brand that's going against them. You know what I'm saying? So, but that goes back to what we talked about last week with the abundance mindset. If you don't have an abundance mindset, you're going to look at somebody side eye. You're going to think that they're competing with you and they're beefing with you and they want your dollars. And y'all both only making chump change, but y'all fighting over the chump change. You know what I'm saying? And so that goes with the abundant mindset. In building industry, you have to have an abundant mindset. You can't think small. You have to understand.
You can't be worried.
Yeah.
You can't be worried about anybody else. You on a daily, you cannot wake up. And I know people don't get the difference between building an industry and running a small business or a micro business. They're 2 different things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People will look at me and they will look at you and they'll say, oh, them 2 brothers right there, they're entrepreneurs. And I'll look at them and say, I ain't no damn entrepreneur. You know, and they'd be like, oh yeah, but don't you have a company in a business? Sort of, but my mission and my focus is not to make tennis shoes and try to sell them to everybody on my block. That is not my mission. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm interested in the industry and I look at it a little bit different. But we have to start distinguishing between the 2. We can't go, I'm a CEO. Okay, you're a CEO. You're a CEO of what? Yourself? You're a CEO of what? Oh, because I own a this. And you own a this, but you don't control shit. So explain to me how that emerges you into the industry, because from where I sit, it ain't even about what you own. It's about what you freaking control.
Yeah, that's it. I heard a long time ago, I had a rich guy tell me, I own nothing, control everything. And that's
correct.
When I heard that, it didn't make sense to me because once again, I come from the world of owning my mom and pop store is the biggest thing on the block. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so when he was saying that, it didn't make sense. But over time, I have understood. And when you see all these names on the building and stuff, them people, they managing for the big owner that don't want his name on the building. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, you own it, but I can control you with while you owning that. That's the real power. The person that controls the owner. You know what I'm saying?
And in these conversations, I'm definitely not going to tell anybody what I control. It's none of your damn business what I control. But again, for the purposes of you and I in our conversation, okay, I like to speak to the people and I like to make the people aware of that. Maybe they just need to change their mindsets and maybe they need to start thinking with an abundant mindset instead of trying to worry about what I'm doing and what everybody else is doing and how they look in front of somebody when actually they don't control a thing. I told somebody this the other day, Tony, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna keep it real. Everybody is on social media. Everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't control social media. We don't have no say so over anything when it comes to social. If somebody wants to pull the plug right now.
Easy.
It's done. So where would you be, okay, if you put all of your apples into social media, something you don't control, right? Where would you be? Lost, broke, without a chance of exposure and revenue? Okay. Just think about this, because I'm making this clear and valid. Every social media platform is free to its users. Just hear me out. Free to its users, right? But how come these social media platforms are well into the billions of dollars when they let us use it for free? Think about it. Because, see, it's what you don't know about the social media industry that keeps you captive to going, it's free. I'm gonna build my business on social media, and I'm gonna do this. And then the minute they have a little hiccup, you crying, oh, my business is not gonna survive. Me, I'm different. I don't give a damn if social media goes down today. It ain't gonna stop what I'm doing. I don't care, okay, if the tariffs reach 1,000% in the US. It ain't gonna stop what I'm doing. You understand that, right?
Oh, yeah. I definitely understand that. From and that I say that's why I say I've been thinking power, but industry is power. So that's why I'm saying it makes sense now, and I understand why I grasped to it, and I once you started talking that language to me, I took on it because I was already there. I just was I was thinking of it different, but I had the mindset for it. Like I say, I just didn't know exactly what I was thinking when I was thinking power. I was thinking industry, but I was thinking industry without knowing, but I was thinking power, I can obtain power through my mom and pop store, through my shirt that I put out, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But and see, and that's why so many of us do it, and so many of us take pride in it, because we wasn't taught. To us, just having a mom and pop store is the biggest step ever, because our family never had that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm always preaching. We got to raise the standards, because if we keep going and saying, "Well, I'm the first college graduate, I'm the first person to own a business," we're talking like these are monumental steps, but they're basically like just regular things. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly,
when you're from a family that had not even that, you think you're the biggest person on the block,
Exactly.
And that's why it's good to surround yourself with people that's on way other levels so you can it'll bring you to reality about your little steps, which not, every step counts, but your little steps, when you talk about your little steps like you the biggest dog in the world, you got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I love about this, because I know exactly where I'm at. And I knew what I want to go. And I think like one of the first things I told you, I mean, I got $1 billion vision, but I'm running it like a mom and pops. So I knew it was a lot bigger and a lot better vision, but I couldn't get over it because I was using the tools that I only knew of. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't exposed to more tools. I knew it was more, and I knew I wanted more, but I'm like, how do I get there? And then when we started talking, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see now. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm researching private equity, and I'm doing other things, because now I'm learning the big boy game of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely. And that's why I love having these conversations, because like you're the only person in my life, and I talk to a lot of businessmen that says industry as much as you say industry.
I do. I say it a lot.
I talk to other guys that's millionaires, and they don't even talk about industry like that. They just happen to hit it big in one thing or not, but they still, even though, and see, this is what people don't realize, even though you hit a nice number in life or you get to a certain thing, you can still be thinking wrong. You just happen to be lucky in whatever you was doing, and it's I ain't gonna say luck, because I'm gonna say you just happen to hit it big in whatever field you in, but you still could be thinking wrong on the bigger vision of industry. Because we have a lot of millionaires, and that's why they always say, well, we got more millionaires and billionaires than ever. Why are we still, as a people, at the bottom? Because the people that do get it still not thinking industry. They still they like I say, they made it in one field or another. They had a couple real estate plays or stocks. Or, they got rich off a couple different things, but even in that, they're not thinking industry, because if they was, they'll be like, and I'm gonna do a video like this, and not even to get off subject, but okay, Dr. Boyce. I love Dr. Boyce to death, right?
Yeah.
One of the big homies. But the last few years, I kind of like swaying away from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a video I'm gonna be doing soon when I talk about did the elders failed us, because like even in Dr. Boyce is one of the bright minds in our community, brilliant, right? And he does this thing, but my problem is he's always dissing a lot of the Black community and the rappers and this and that, right? And I get it. Some of that is valid, right? But my thing is, if you say you the smartest person, if you say you the richest person, and you the this and you the that in our community, why you haven't hired 1,000 people like what's up, boy, Amazon?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. That's industry. That's somebody that's in his community is a real power player, because he got, I don't know how many tens of thousands of jobs. I don't know how many people he hired. But that's industry, right?
That's a global thing, man.
That's what I'm saying. So that's industry. So if you're in the Black community and you talk with your chest that big and you say you got this and you the smartest, you got a PhD in this and you the this and that, why you haven't built industry? You've been having a Black business school for over a decade yet. You haven't opened up a school building. You haven't did. Where's the industry in your school at? So, and this is why
Jeff Bezos controls the retail product industry. There's nobody that can beat him in that industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're right. Not to cut you off, but you're absolutely right. You listen to these leaders, and a lot of these leaders, and I'm not knocking them. Okay.
Yeah. Look, no, for sure.
This is our conversation, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's how we normally talk.
I brought it up. Yeah.
I'm not knocking them. I listen to a lot of them, but in my mind, I be thinking the same thing you thinking, like, well, wait a minute. If Jeff Bezos sits in his garage and him and his friends and his cronies figure out how they're going to dominate the whole retail product market, because they got it, and they can't nobody push them out. It's done. They done took this global domination of the retail products, and nobody can beat them. Nobody. Not even China and Shein and all of them. They force them to have to do business with Amazon. Hence the name Amazon. Big, huge. But think about this. You're right. These people tell us these things, but no one ever sits us down and say, you know what? How do we emerge into this industry? How do we merge into the popcorn industry? You know what I'm saying? Which is the food industry, right? The food product industry. How do we merge into that? That's where the lesson is not being taught. The lessons that are being taught, and you agree with me, is how to file an LLC, how to get your paperwork and your tax information done, how to go buy your supplies from China or wherever, how to write a mission plan and a mission statement and
your credit,
all that other bullshit.
Your credit.
Okay.
You gotta get your credit and buy
gotta get your credit. Right. All the wrong things. So we'll never be led to move into the automotive industry and make our version of a Bentley until we learn what that looks like and where that way of thinking comes from.
And it needs to be.
I digress.
No, and that's why I said, because I study everybody, and like I said, it's never a disrespect, but when you walk around with your chest out and you critique everybody, you're open for critique too, like, right? Everybody. So if you say because like, okay, like when I post up this ain't Dr. Boyce, this a rapper. This a rapper that you say this is a rapper that you say ain't no good for our community. That's been made. I know I can at least count like 20 plus millionaires, probably another 30, 40, six-figure black people. And this is industry right here, though, right?
Yeah. He's in the automotive industry.
And I'm talking about that was one product. I'm talking about the tires, the leather,
Exactly.
the paint. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you're gonna diss, and he diss Rick Ross all the time. My thing is, okay, fair enough. I'm not here to say you can't critique people, but now I can critique you. Where's your industry? You've been you say you taught all the people on Wall Street. You say you taught them when you was teaching at Syracuse. So why you haven't implemented none of the stuff you taught? Why you haven't, where is the 10, 20, 30, 50, 100
Right.
black millionaires that you created that I know Rick Ross has created?
Right.
Where, you know what I'm saying? So in this industry right here, this ain't no white dude. This is another black man that he put on and helped now his stuff in AutoZone. These are two black men that's in an industry that's full of nothing but white people.
There is a bunch of black people. There's a guy that I know, okay? Met him a long time ago. He's a little bit older than I am, who's into the retail product industry, the clothing industry. He makes these shoes, and I think the business is called The Factory or whatever, or something like that. I can't remember what it is. And they design, like, you know how you see like the foam shoes, like the Crocs and all of that.
Yeah.
But they've used aerodynamic technology and start building their stuff, and they own all of the machines, they own everything, and they're out there and they've been producing, you know, these shoes for a lot of people and a lot of corporations, and don't nobody even know they black. You see what I'm saying? We're so hung up on, I'm not gonna say trying to prove to somebody that we hold value, that we're missing the value. You know what I'm saying? Those people are out there and they're doing exactly what I'm doing, what you're doing, and what Rick Ross is doing, and what Nick Cannon is doing. They just don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want anybody to disrupt. And I'm not talking about, like I said, no disrespect. I'm not talking about the little fish. I'm talking about the big fish. Them the ones that's watching.
Yeah.
If they got enough money in the force to shut me down, they're gonna shut me down.
Sure.
We all know how it works.
Yeah.
But if you just keep your mouth shut and you emerge into an industry and you do your thing, you'll get to a point where you're like Jeff Bezos and they can't stop you. They just got to join you.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the one thing that my mentor told me. He was like, don't run from industry, join them. Just join them.
Yeah.
You know, put your pride aside and don't look at Tony and be like, yo, man, yep, that dang seasoning ain't gonna go nowhere. No, you got to be like, yo, man, what kind of machines do we need to get so that we can make this stuff from raw source materials?
Yeah.
That's the way we should be thinking. You get it? But that's not the way we think. Okay. And I'm just saying a disclaimer. I'm not no expert. I don't claim to be, but I know what I'm trying to do by way of my mission.
Yeah.
Okay. And my mission doesn't have anything to do with anybody. It has to do with what I'm trying to do in this industry. And that's where the focus is. The focus isn't on knocking somebody down. The focus isn't on saying, oh, they're a bunch of frauds over here and this. I don't give a damn. My focus is on the mission. And you ask me, well, what is the mission? That's the mission for me.
Yeah.
Build more industry, set my factories into place. You know what I'm saying? Emerge into this industry, merge with other corporations. That's my mission. And it's going along pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And it's about to pick up rapidly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that's,
I know.
I feel like that's, you know, my job is to really pour into what I'm doing, because, you know, we talk about this all the time. The bigger I become, the bigger you become, the bigger you become, the bigger I become. That, you know, we don't even have that conversation, because I was told always, you know what I'm saying, what's understood don't need to be spoke on. You know what I'm saying? I was taught that a long time ago. So we don't have to say it with our chest, you know, but we both already know we have that dialogue. So everything, what did I do last night? Before I posted today about a fashion show, who's the first person I text about before I even told anybody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big
Exactly.
homie. If I do it in November, you think you'll be if he'd have said no, I wouldn't have posted it because I want him to be a part of, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so he was like, okay, yeah, I think I can do that. Okay, so today, and it's still not even final, but today I put it out there in the atmosphere. I already got like 5 or 6 kids that want to model because that's how I normally do when I have an idea and I run it across the people that I want to be a part of it. Now I throw it in the atmosphere. Once the atmosphere start kicking and everything, then we turn it into a flyer and an official event. You know, right now I just threw the energy out there to see how the response I would get and things like that. And the response is great, you know. And then going into that, I'm gonna be sit down with you like, hey, with this fashion show, what do you think? What do you look? Well, you know, I want some kids that wear some jogger pants. I want some adults that wear this. I want this. I want that. Why? Because this is my first thing. I'm doing this because this goes with my vision for Temple, or not even Temple. This is what goes for my vision for Central Texas, turning us to a hub where we shoot our movies. We turn us to a hub where we got fashion shows, all the big city stuff. You got to go to New York and Atlanta and Cali for. We can do that here too. We can have them flying into Central Texas for these events too. You know what I'm saying?
We can do a lot in this community.
Yeah.
You know, you're absolutely right. I don't take any of that from what you said, but like I said, the way that the mindset is built in the community is, you know, they think about it from a different perspective. It's like, you know, oh, to do something on a scale, it's got to be big, it's got to be grand. And usually when you start off like that, it fails.
Yeah.
Some of the most top designers that I know started off just like you, doing a very small fashion show in a very small venue and blew it up to, like you said, New York, Paris, you know, France, those things. That's how everything starts. Do you think, hear me out, that Rick Ross woke up and said, you know what? I'm finna get into the music industry and I'm gonna be the best rapper on the planet. Nope, that ain't what he did. He realized he had a skill and he was like, you know what? I can rap and I can write. You know what? I'm gonna go in my living room, in my basement, in my homie's house that I'm living in that I can barely pay rent on. And I'm gonna start writing and I'm gonna start building. And then that is what got him where he is today.
His first checks come from songwriting. He didn't have his big hit. His first big hit was after 30 years old. He had been in the music industry since he was a teenager.
Exactly.
You know, it's that grind and it's that, and this is what me and my grandma was talking about today. I'm like, I don't claim to be the smartest, or this, the that, but my grandma, she just always laugh at me because she's like, man, you 43. My grandma been actually seeing me do this since I was about 13. And it's just amazing to her. They always tell me, like, you just never stop no matter what. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? So and that's when I learned that it's not about one business to me. I just was in love with the world of business. At first, I thought I just want to be a rapper and I want to be I didn't care about none of that stuff, you know, because I used to hate. I don't think I'm the only person that rapped that hated the night of the concerts. I hated that because I'm not really like a people person like that. It was the business, and that was the first business that I could get my hands on. I could start rapping like that. You know what I'm saying? Then I went to the chicken restaurant. I went to the clothing store. I went to all these things later. And then I realized I just love business, but I still was lost. Even though I had that love for business, I was lost on how to conduct it and how to do this. And you know what I'm saying? So I had to learn, and I took so many lumps over the head in the years of just learning. And this was way before social media. So I couldn't go on her and Google and listen to people talk about industry 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nobody out here, you know. So I had a lot. I took lumps on the head to what 2000. I think I didn't get on the social media to 2012 or 2012 or something like that. I had already been in business 12, 13 years then, you know, or I've been in the world of trying to do business. I ain't even gonna say I was in the world of business because I didn't know what I was doing, but I had been in the world of trying to do business, right? So that's what I'm saying. This has just been a long mission of mine, even though I kind of didn't know exactly what it was now. And I was telling my partner the other day, I said, man, I see why most millionaires and billionaires become wealthy after 40. especially if you're not handed this and have a team that just bless you at a young age. You have to go through the trials and tribulations. You have to learn. You have to take the lumps on the head. That's why majority, what 60-70% of millionaires and billionaires don't get to that status till after they 40, because they have to go through the 20s and 30s where you learn and take your losses and you know and all that. And it makes sense to me now. That's why I'm so confident in where I'm at now, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on to something now. I got it. Like I figured it out now. So of course you still got to execute. You still got to take care of your businesses. But I'm not confused no more. I know exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. Now it's about just waking up every day and executing. The good days or the bad days, just executing and putting one foot in front of the other and making it happen, man. So like the mission is so right in front of us right now. Hey, Miss Lisa with the stocks, where you been? We'll be on tomorrow at night with the stocks, but thank you for tapping in today. This is our powerful conversation. So we talk about everything in here. And the big homie Kimo is more of an industry play.
Everything.
So, he's with everything. You know, he's back in the day stockbroker, but now we talk about industry and building wealth. Miss Lisa is heavy into the stock world, so she be tapping in with us. We still need to bring you on the show and see. It's been a while. I need to update on all that, but I thank you for tapping in. But yeah, so that's where we at now. So now we talking about industry. We talking about different things. So everything I think about is industry now. When I think about the season, it's literally everything I think about doing now. I got you in my mind. So season, I'm thinking about condiment industry. When I do the fashion, I'm thinking about the clothing industry. When I'm thinking about the clothing industry, I'm thinking about the cotton field. I'm thinking about the whole line up to the clothes. I wanted one day where we actually can say, this is our field, this is our truck, this is our factory, and here's our fashion show. Like that's it. That whole line. We're gonna show you from the field to the people walking down the walkway on it. That this is ours. We own this whole line of products. You know, we own everything. We paying the drivers, we paying the people in the factory that's making it. We got the people out there that's getting it out the fields. Like, man, and that's where, like I said, I had a vision of power, but you helped me put it together. And industry is power. So, I mean, hey, you know what? That's an idea. I need to put that on some shirts. Industry is power.
Yeah, no, that's pretty smart.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we need to do that. We need to do that. But this is where I say, what's our mission? Because I think sometimes, a lot of times people they kind of know, but they'll still misquote or just say anything.
Yeah.
You always say, people that may think you're in the clothing industry. They missing the whole thing of what you're doing. You say that constantly, and people still say, yeah, but he's in the clothing industry because he posts clothes, so he got to be in the clothing industry. You know. But and that's why we come every week and we come to pound it into their heads, because you know sometimes you got to hear things over and over, and you got to see things.
Yeah.
So and that's the most important part that I like. And I hated that these last 2 years, what I was going through with trying to open a school, I didn't really get to execute everything with you. That's why I'm in a dash for it right now. You know what I'm saying? Before you get out of here, which to me, the earth is my turf. So even though you out of here, you won't be out of here to me. You know what I'm saying?
As long as we can still talk over Zoom and stuff like that, you don't lose communication. I don't know why people, some of the biggest people in industry, including myself, you know, I don't think I'm one of the biggest people, but you know, I'm making a statement when I say sometimes I stay up. I'm 2 o'clock in the morning talking to people over in, you know, wherever, Indonesia, and you know, I'm sitting up here going, what? Yeah. But it doesn't sever the communication when it comes to business. I was just talking to the fam today, and I was explaining to them, because my family are the executives of, you know, our company. Okay. And I was explaining to them, like, you know, one of the biggest things is we don't need to validate what our mission is. We don't need to validate with nobody. Yes, people will see shopk7j.com and they'll think automatically and subliminally that means I'm going to go on to that site and you're going to have clothes there for me to buy, but they don't understand what the mission is behind it. Yes, there are clothes there. Yes, there's prices there. Yes, you can buy them, but that's not what we do. because there's some things that we do that we just don't tell everybody. And that makes people think that we're in a retail position when we're really not. You know, there's other things that we do and we work with, you know, and our clients will go to that website, and basically what they're seeing is what we're building in the industry for other companies, other corporations, other peoples, other mom and pops, other design firms. You see where I'm going with this?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah. Nah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, and it took me a while to really understand it. And that's why I'm so excited to even have you on, every week to let people get an insight of how you think. And I get to see it and hear it, every time we talk or meet up, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But the people, because it has helped me, and I feel like I've been thinking on a higher level and thinking this way, and it still you have brought me so far. So what I tell the people and the way I talk to the people, they need to hear this, because
Hmm.
even coming from me, I didn't fully get it. And like I say, it is not our fault, because how can you get it when you brought up in an environment that the mom and
Right.
pop store is the biggest thing? Like if you get a mom and pop store, you the man in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's like you just really hired yourself for a job. You know what I'm saying? You like, so in some cases you're better off if you go get a job, because you're gonna be making less
Yeah.
than some people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it still
Yeah.
feel like a big thing because you're around of people that never even did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like graduating high school to some people is a big thing. So and then you realize when you get around certain people, like why are you celebrating graduating from high school? But to us, so many people quit or fail or dropped out or this and that. To graduate high school is a huge thing, and it's not saying that it's not an accomplishment. But my thing is, I watch kids graduate and everybody celebrate, and I've seen parents spend tens of thousands of dollars for graduation, and a year later, those kids in front of me depressed, don't know what to do in life, don't have nothing in front of them. Just, you know what I'm saying? So it was a good moment, and us as our people, we love feel good moments. But what was this? There's no substance behind it.
Right.
They didn't have no pathway after the graduation. They wanted to play
Right.
football, and they realized that only a half of 1% of them gonna make it in sports. And when you from a small town and you go now, you playing with boys from every city in the world. You might have been the star in your town. Now you ain't even the water boy no more. You ain't even good enough to
Yeah.
be the water boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now that's when real life hits you. Now that's when you get
Yeah.
on drugs. That's why you get on the drinks, and that's what my documentary, the streets lied to us. It's gonna be covering that. It's not that I salute the 1% or the half of 1% that makes it. I'm talking about the 99% that don't make it. That was told all they like that they gonna make it, and then I have to see them at 18, 19 when nobody ever told them about industry, nobody ever told them
Hmm.
about building nothing, nobody ever told them about mindset. Now they frustrated on drugs at a job they hate.
Yep.
People whispering, "Oh man, I thought he was gonna make it." You know how that
Yep.
is. You know what I'm
Or trying
saying?
to commit suicide.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying, because it messes with their mental.
Yep.
And so that's what my Wealth is Gangster brand is, to prevent that. My Wealth is Gangster brand is to
Right.
say you need to be listening to the big homie Chemo. Now that's gangster. I don't know if you can make it in sports or not, but if you get into this industry world, you can be bigger than the person that do make it in sports. You know what I'm saying?
A
Like,
perfect example of that. And I was just telling some youngsters this the other day, because I'd be talking to these kids behind the
yeah,
scenes.
for sure.
I just so everybody know, I do a lot of work behind the scenes, but I'm just
Yeah,
not like this. You're probably one of a few people that's got me to actually do this. Because normally I wouldn't even
I
do it.
already
I'd be
know.
like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
man, I
yeah,
ain't
for
talking
sure.
to nobody, just let me keep doing what I'm doing. But I was just telling some youngsters the other day, and I was like, everybody that's young in high school and middle school and in AAU leagues that play football should look at the examples of Shador and Shiloh Sanders and what they're doing to them in the sports industry. Now, these young men worked their way up. They didn't get no free ride off of their daddy. They worked their way up. They one came in as a free agent. The other one came in fifth round pick, which should have been first, but we don't dictate that. And this goes back to what I said about who controls the industry. Again, it doesn't matter. They can eject you like that.
Mhm.
Everybody saw what old boy did to Shiloh during that game. And because he struck back, automatically he's gone. But there's no mention of the other guy. And I'm not saying that this is some racial stuff or nothing like that. I'm
Just hear
saying
what it is. Yeah.
this is about control. They control those leagues. They can do whatever they want. Now, when you flip the script and you talk about the sports industry and you look at Ice Cube, who's a rapper, but controls the big three.
And they tried to shut him down. They tried to shut him down and couldn't.
They couldn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. They couldn't. They couldn't do it. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And that's real power. And, I always go back to Dr. Claude Allen said, power is being able to do what you want despite opposition. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us think power is, we got a high paid position or we got a high job. No, because that's not despite opposition. That's somebody gave you that. Now, if you can get into a high position and everybody tried to take that position from you, but they can't, okay, now you got a substance of power because everybody that's higher than you or whatever tried to knock you out and you can't. But most of the time, when you're going up the corporate ladder, anybody higher than you can get rid of you instantly. Like it's not too many people on the lower end that can outdo the people on the high end. I've never heard of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it don't happen too much. So that's what we got to understand. We got to build these industries. And once we do these industries, we run it. And it's easily, I ain't gonna say it's easily, it could be easily done if we all thought different. Like we could, the NFL and the NBA could be ran, we could switch the ownership and we could switch everything overnight. But, and this is what I'm gonna talk about on September 7th at the Build to Win conference that we got. Getting rich and building wealth and building industry, it's not too hard, but what you got to do to get rich, what you got to do to build industry, that's the part that makes it hard. Yeah. I realized that like building wealth is not that hard. If you discipline, if you focus, if you willing to live a certain way to get there, it's not that hard. The reason why it's a 1% because the 99% of people don't want to be that disciplined. The 99% of people don't want to live like that you got to do. They don't want to go through that ugly stage. They don't want to go without. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so hard to get rich because you don't want to do what it takes to get to that level.
Right.
And that's something I've learned personally, but that's what I see all around me. I'm screaming like it's not that hard for us to change our lives, y'all. But I realize it is hard when you don't want to change your day to day. You want your life to change, but you want it to just wake up one day and it change instead of doing what you got to do to make it change. Yeah. You might have to go without eating out for a long time. You might have to not buy them kids Christmas presents for a couple of years. You might have to save your dollars and you might have to go back and live with a parent or a cousin or something so you can stack up more money and just get it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of paying that full rent, you get them a piece of it and you stack. Like these are the things we don't want to do to really get to that next level. And that's why we can't. It's not getting rich is hard. It's what you got to do to get to that level is what.
That's correct.
That's our trip. That's what we trip over.
Yeah. Yeah. You can make money and eat every day. There's nothing stopping any of us from doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the easiest thing to do in the world is make money every day. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's working a 9 to 5 or whether it's standing on the corner selling bags of popcorn.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to make some money and you're going to be able to eat. But you're right. We don't think about it like that. I think the way that we think about certain things, and when I say we, I'm just talking about everybody who's not thinking like industry building and business and things like that is, what's the quickest way to make a lot of money so that they can live their life the way that they want to. But I was always told there are no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
You can't even find a shortcut. You can find a shortcut, but you'll find a shortcut with consequences. Now you can go rob the bank and you might get away with it, but there's going to be some consequences when they catch your butt.
Yeah.
So that's not a shortcut to reach wealth. there's only one way to reach wealth, and that's to do exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Put in that work.
You got to put in that work and stay disciplined, keep
work.
your head down, grind, and just you're not gonna be able to live like most people live. You know, like I was told for the longest, man, why you don't shop more? Why you don't buy? You got them same 2 pair of shoes, because I knew where I wanted to be.
Exactly.
I didn't want to have to. I'm not trying to outdo you on who can be the flies but the brokest. I don't care about that. You know, we can get fly, but we broke, and it broke to me. And this is what I tell people: it's only a rich and poor. Like, I know we got people out there that think they're in the middle class, but I'm here to tell you that it's rich and poor, and I'm still on the poor end, but I'm working I'm working my ass off to get to the rich end, and that's and most people be like, "You're not poor, you got this, you got that." Yeah, to people that's poor, that looks like something. And the bigger scheme of what I see and what I know this world is being ran, and then the money that you see, man, we're poor. I'm sorry to tell people, and it's okay to say that. That's not to degrade nobody. Like I just said, I'm poor still, but my mindset is not poor. I understand what I'm up against. I understand what I got to go through. I'm understanding what I'm doing, and I understand what it's going to take for me to get to that level. And I go without. I go do this. I'm still, you know, like one of the things I always tell people, they be like, I don't eat out. I don't do all that stuff. I got a cooking business every day. Whatever is not sold, that's my dinner for the night. And I can easily afford to go eat wherever I want to eat every day. That's a discipline to me, though. You know what I'm saying? That's and the main part of discipline is being able to do something and choosing not to because it's not financially better. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
And a lot of people,
I tell people all the day, I say, you know, I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy. I don't care what you think, you know. And I said, I'm not poor, and I'm definitely not comfortable. What I am is still on a journey. And that journey is to complete the mission that I put in place for myself. I know that's hard for a lot of people to understand that. I'm not expecting them to understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not chasing a bag. I'm not chasing the ultimate dream. I know exactly the destination that I want to be. And until I may not even get there. I may leave this planet before I get there. But it's the seeds that I'm gonna leave behind that still can be watered and that will grow.
Well, Pac said, I might not change the world, but I can spark the brain. I'm gonna spark the brain that changed the world. You know what I'm saying? You know, and like I say, you have sparked my brain on what I'm doing and what I'm building. So I'm already, and I'm in full speed motion now. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly how I'm doing, and you're gonna see. You know, last year, you know, the situation I came out of. In 1 year, you could see a big difference. What you think this next year gonna be? This last year was just me trying to regroup and me trying to get my footing back together. Now you finna see movies, you finna see this, you finna see fashion show, you finna see everything that I got built up, and it's all gonna be. It's not gonna be just a show. It's not gonna be like, even in the music. When you see me do the concert and stuff, that's not just a concert anymore. We now we in the industry of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? We at these concerts, I'll be selling food, I'll be selling my barbecue sauce and all that. So that's my condiment industry. We're gonna be having the clothing on, and I just told you that we're gonna be doing our first cotton field. So we're in the clothing industry. You know what I'm saying? So I'm tying all this into the stuff I've been doing forever. I've been doing concerts, I've been doing all this stuff. I never put it in the context of industry. So everything I do now is gonna be 10 times bigger because it's an industry. It's not just a concert anymore. And this is what I tell every artist that's around me. Hey, I don't know if your music gonna blow or not, but you got to be a businessman or woman around me. We got to do business. We got to do this. We got to conduct ourselves like this. We got to do these type of things. And we can use music as the commercial. We can use music as something to help promote it. But that ain't the real play. The music is not the real play. And now I'm trying to figure out how to set up my thing, because I got probably like 50 songs I don't even want to put on Spotify, because 1 million downloads get you $4,000. I need somebody that's in the tech world that can build me a website and you can buy straight from me for $1 a song or something. Yeah, I don't want to get a million plays just to get $4,000, huh?
Exactly.
No, you can buy my song for $1 each, and if you buy
what is that? That is like 0.000.000.1 0.01%.
Or you could just call it robbery. You know what I'm saying? And this was Scarface was talking about the other day, and I was wondering because I get a little, I got one song that I dropped about 12 years ago, and every 4 months I get a check from it. I don't know where. I never promoted. I don't know who in the world listening to it, but right. I get a cool check. They just called me the other day because they said I need an address change, and I get a cool check every 4 months. So, but I got like 50 songs that I never released, and people always ask me, well, if you get paid off one song like this, if you put all 50 out, that would 10 times your money. But it's 10 times my money. But I was thinking industry, I guess, without even knowing. So now I need someone that can build my site up where you come buy Stripe directly from me. Not 1,000 views. You're gonna buy each song for $1 or 50 cents or whatever, and you can go play that song for the rest of your life. Yeah. That's you buying it straight from me. I'm going around the big heads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
there's
now
stopping you from doing that.
Yeah, nobody. That's what Nipsey was doing. That Proud to Pay campaign and all that. Nipsey, you was buying it straight from him. When he sold the CD for $100, you was buying it straight from him. You know what I'm saying? And people told him, "You crazy? You selling a CD for $100?" He was selling the experience because with that CD for $100, you get a ticket to a concert, you get a shirt. You see, people didn't realize the whole play behind it. You know what I'm saying? But he was getting that money straight. He was getting that $100 straight to him instead of having to get 30 billion streams to get the same amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Because in these times when people are just so quick-minded, who gonna listen to one song for 1 million times?
Right.
Yeah. So you're not even gonna make the $4,000. You know what I'm saying?
No, I ain't doing that.
People attention span is too short these days. So people might listen to your song, even the songs I like. Some days I listen to it 3 or 4 times, and I might not listen to it for a month. Then I'll listen to it 3 or 4 times, and I might not listen to it for 3-6 months. You know what I'm saying? So in a whole year, my favorite song, I might only listen to it 10, 20 times. Yeah. He'll never get $1 million listening, off me. But if I bought that one song for $1, I can listen to it whenever. He still got that $1 for that one song. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we made so much more money when it was the CDs out the trunk. And that's what the industry did. They were like, hold on, they making too much money because like Slim Thug, Baby, all these boys was millionaires before they got a deal because they was selling straight to the consumer. And the big wigs was like, hold on, we can't let y'all coming out the trunk selling CDs. Y'all becoming millionaires before y'all even meet us. Yeah. So now we gonna stream it. Yeah. And we fell in love. We fell for the okie doke. Oh man, go stream my song, man. We thought we was doing something. Stream us. We always the biggest cheerleaders of our downfall. We don't even know what we cheering on, man.
But that was just a form of the industry, the music industry, controlling the industry. That's what they did. See, they got back and it was like, wait a minute, Master P comes to us. He done sold all his stuff right out of his trunk. He's a millionaire. Cash Money, same thing. And they're saying, we don't need your distribution. We don't need nothing from you. You want to play ball with us. So they went back and said, if this continues to happen, they're gonna disrupt this industry. And now artists aren't even going to care about working with labels. So they devised the streaming thing, and it was like, well, this is some form of control. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't even fight it. We just fell for it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we end. So tonight was about the mission, man. We're a little bit over the time. Big homie, you got any last words for as we end the show tonight as mission, or just any thoughts on your mind right now?
Yeah, I just tell people, like I always do, keep your eye on the prize. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about what everybody else is wearing and what they drive and how they doing, whatever. You keep your eye on your prize. You keep your eye on your mission and what you're trying to do. I'm not saying that you can't collaborate, because I do a lot of collaborating, but at the same time, it has to fall within my mission, in my industry building. So as long as you're moving like that, you'll be okay. That's just my words. You don't need someone like me telling you what to do. You know what I'm saying? I can influence what you do by way of, these conversations that you and I have, Tony. But other than that, no, you are in control of your destiny, just like I am, and we just leave it at that.
Leave it at that. And my thing is, I'm just gonna keep doing the work. I did enough talking. I'm on a show now.
Exactly.
So Central Texas, you got a lot coming, man. From shows to conferences to award shows to, like, you name it. we about to have our hands in it, and it's
Yeah.
all about industry. It's not just a regular show, and we're gonna show that at everything we do, even at the fashion show. We're gonna be talking about industry there. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So everything that I do is it's all about industry from here on
Yeah.
out. And so
The more people we encourage
Yeah.
to build the right way, it will automatically change the dynamic.
yeah,
You know, and like I said, I told somebody, I said, if they built Black Wall Street once, it can be built again. The only problem with it is the mindset is not thinking industry building, where Black Wall Street and you know, all the other ones like Wilmington and North Carolina and what those people were doing, but they were not building businesses. They were creating industry. They built the bus companies that controlled from these blocks to these blocks to Tulsa, Oklahoma, here and there. You see what I'm saying? That's what they did. And I think we've lost sight of how powerful that is. And that's how come people are having a hard time trying to build it back again.
yeah,
But it's not really difficult to do. You know, you can do these things. You know what I'm saying? If you make it up to your mind and you say, that little piece of dirt over there, and I'm going to go and I'm going to buy some cotton seeds and I'm just going to start building cotton. And then the next thing you do, you start selling that cotton and you're saying, I'm going to take the money from this cotton and I'm going to build the cotton gin that can do this and then put it in textile form. Then you're creating industry.
yeah,
But to get a patch of dirt and build the cotton and then go, oh, well, I'm going to try to sell the cotton to these people who make hoodies and they don't want it, that's an issue.
yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have to be smarter than that with what we do. So that's just my nugget for today.
And appreciate you always dropping the nuggets, man. So the topic tonight was about industry. Y'all make sure y'all go to the website, check it out, man. You know what I'm saying? We build the industry. You're gonna see clothes, but it's industry building, and just keep listening to us, because I know it's not going. You're not just gonna understand it just by hearing it like industry. You're just hearing the word, but don't just listen to us. Watch the things that we're gonna be doing, and watch the things that we're gonna be putting out and producing. And you'll start hearing it. Oh, then you'll start getting it. Oh, I get what they're saying now. I understand what they're saying and they're doing now. So, you know, and I feel like that's my job as the younger man, the big homie that inspired me with the vision. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now it's time for me to take it and run with it and really just put it out there to the masses. So that's my task. And that's what I'll be doing. And that's why you'll see so much going. I'm planning so much for next year. And I was going to ride out this year. I said, no, I'm not going to just ride out this year. We're going to do a show, a big show. We're going to do a big fashion show. I got the award show. I'm gonna put like 3 events together before this year, and then next year we're going for the jugular. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. So everybody go to shopk7j.com. Check us out. Of course, go to wealthisgangster.com. The CEO Youth League website will be up in the next couple of days, and we're building industry from the education to condiments to clothing, everything. It's all industry. So just tap in with us. I appreciate everybody tapping in. And we'll see y'all next week. And Big Homie, I'll be talking to you because, like I said, this fashion show coming up. So I want to get with you because I want to make sure I want to do this player, and I need your advice on it, man. So appreciate you coming in. I'll be talking to you soon. Everybody else, thank y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Later.